Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This is a dangerous development, major development, and that is the Russians changed the term they use for what's going on in Ukraine. If you remember, the Russians insisted that they are engaged in a special military operation in Ukraine. Now Russia is at war. What would be the distinction? Why the Russians insisted that they're not at war with Ukraine or with the Western weasels over there, but it's just a special military operation. Their claim was this: we're going just to fix a few things in Ukraine because this is a place where our national interest lies and our people are killed in Donbass. Therefore, we think that we should stop, according to them, the genocide in Donbass. That was a special military operation just to fix a few things, not take over, as these guys say, over Ukraine, like take over. I'm talking about incorporate Ukraine. Take over, like control Ukraine. That was one goal. After they told the Western guys, back off, let's discuss, give us guarantees and all that. So that's why they engaged less than 1 million people in this war. Special military operation, see? So they called it this way because they said, we're not going to have a general mobilization, which is potentially could bring about 30-some million people. And the war is like the Second World War, Soviet Union fighting the invading Wehrmacht, Germans. And not only. All right, so that was a total war with everything you got. They kept a little bit from themselves regarding the, how do you call that, chemical warfare. Nevertheless, the Americans used atomic bombs, which upped the games on the civilians, not on military infrastructure. They claim blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so from that little tweaking here and there, now they call it a war. Exactly after Putin's election. Why would that be? Well, the Russians say because NATO is increasingly more involved in Ukraine. Therefore, we have to release our resources into this and you up. This is what I tell you as a general assessment of this situation and the new change of terms. And I'm going to read the Russia Today article where it says Russia is at war. Here it is. 22nd of March 2024. Russia is at war, the Kremlin says. What started as a military operation has escalated after the West became a participant. I think the West was a participant with the first bullet they delivered to Ukraine to use against the Russians. Dmitry Peskov has said, that's my assessment, that's how I view things. If you help my enemy or the guy I'm fighting to destroy me, you are engaged. Obviously, you're not neutral, because if you're neutral, we stay away. Obviously, you're not an objective balance that would give 3 bullets to my enemy, 3 bullets to me, but not shot at me, delivered to me like that. So that would be, okay, you're balanced. But no, you give this guy to kill me, if you're my enemy, rather you're actively involved in the war. How do you want me to call that? No. Russia's military operation in Ukraine has turned into full-fledged war after the West became a participant in the conflict, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said in an interview with national media published on Friday. They never said this before. Moscow will continue to pursue its goal of ensuring that the Ukrainian military cannot pose a threat to Russian citizens or territory, the spokesman told the Argument I Fakti newspaper, noting that the country now has 4 new federal subjects which must be protected and fully liberated from Ukraine's forces. Peskov stressed that Russia cannot allow the existence on its borders of a state that publicly claims it will seize the Crimean Peninsula as well as Russia's new territories, referring to the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics and Zaporozhye and Kherson regions. And I'm quoting, "We are at war," Peskov stated, explaining that while the conflict began as a special military operation, as soon as the collective West, I'm quoting, became a participant in this on the side of Ukraine, for us it became a war. In a phone conversation with journalists later in the day, Peskov explained that despite the conflict, and I'm quoting, de facto turning into a war, legally it remains classified in Russia as a special military operation and that nothing has changed in that regard. Wait, I think everything changed. I mean, not everything, but I think they tried to use you, get us used with, we're at war, but not really at war. We're just at war, but not. I mean, please. Let's see what else this guy says. Legally, it remains classified in Russia as a special military operation and that nothing has changed. The Russian Defense Ministry recently reported that since the start of the military operation in Ukraine in February 2022, over 13,000 foreign nationals have taken part in the fighting on the side of Kiev's forces. See, they don't say here mercenaries, they don't say over there NATO troops, they don't say over there volunteers, nationals. Again, of these fighters, which Moscow describes as, right here, mercenaries, some 5,962 have been eliminated, according to the ministry. They said the NATO troops are operating in Ukraine. That's why I had to say this right here, just so you know. Most of them came from Poland, Georgia, the US, Canada, the UK, Romania, Germany, and France, it reported. The threat of Russian Foreign Intelligence Services SVR Sergei Narishkin claimed earlier this week that France is preparing its forces for deployment to Ukraine, and it's allegedly looking to send as many as 2,000 troops to fight for Kiev in the initial phase of the operation. Initial, but they didn't add it on this one. French President Emmanuel Macron, Macron, I just made it up, good job, has hinted in recent weeks at the possible deployment of NATO forces to Ukraine, stating he could not exclude the possibility while branding Russia an adversary. That's why this guy, yeah, okay, just push it, bring it on, we're gonna smack you. Moscow has warned that such a step would likely lead to a direct clash between Russian and NATO forces, which, according to President Putin, would be one step shy of a full-scale World War III. All right, 3. So, my friends, the Russians are just getting us used with, and this is signals giving to these imbeciles, saying, you know what, you keep doing that, we're going to be at war. We are at war, but we're not at war. But you got a hint? We're playing with it. It's up to you. The ball is in your court. See what you're going to do with it. You're going to send those guys legally, like right there in our face. We're going to call it a war. What do you think is going to come when they say we're at war? They can use nuclear weapons because when you're at war, you think that your national statehood is at risk of being destroyed and so on. So we'll see. I've never heard them say that before. I think it's very important, and I'm paying attention to see how the imbeciles react to these guys' statements. Why do I say they're imbeciles? Because the imbeciles were part of what's going on over there in Ukraine. That could have been avoided. But the imbeciles said, we gotta make some profit. Let's go. How? We're gonna destroy Russia, get their resources, get an adversary out, control their nuclear weapons. The society, we're gonna change it, have it a perverted society like they try to do it here. Then we're going to go to China because China gets its resources from Russia. Therefore, we're going to grab China by its fucking balls. Therefore, game over, China. What are you going to do? Attack us? We're going to attack you like we attack Russia right now with other people's lives or nations. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.